We walked up into the field. We crawled up out of the ocean. Vast machines with crowded up gear.
T minus 10, 9,
volcanic
8,
granite
7,
buzzing
6,
with motion.
5. We have program ready to start.
We walked up
2,
into the
1,
field.
0. Booster ignition and
We carried
lift off.
you low in our belly. Sometimes a day seems to tick on for years. Sometimes the sun sets a little bit early. We walked up into the field. We gathered around and around and around. Some places are graves that just haven't been dug yet. Some places are churches that haven't been found. We walked up into the field. We carried you high on our shoulders. Some plots are reserved from the beginning of time. Some feel a little bit old. An army of lichen and moss, to watch the stone being rolled into place. 2 centurions guarding the cross, and of course we are all galaxies with spiraling arms. But some people are a little bit bigger. I've tried so hard not to finish this song, but here we are.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. For Spike, Jewish Slater, Cohen, I am Matt Wright, and together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom. Instead of Christian Slater. You thought we were back on rappers? I just remembered one that I hadn't used before last week, which is, yeah. I like, no, they cannot. I like how you're also encroaching. You're,
It's not working.
I like it. So Spike is literally right now saying they can't hear me, and everybody in the comments is saying
Yes.
Spike is muted.
This
Can't
is,
hear
I can do
Spike.
it. Yes, I did it. Hey folks. Jewish Slater. Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of My Fellow Americans. This is a Muddied Waters media production. We are so happy to have you. Be sure to share this right now. Comment, like, share, subscribe, follow, hit the bell. Do all the things that you need to do to maximize your potential to increase our algorithmic reach. Oh, God. Matt, go ahead.
First and foremost, allow me to thank the fantastic and wonderful, kind people at siestacava.com. Siestacava.com, very fantastic, magnificent people over there. So if you have not yet tried the, as I have recently started dubbing it, the hippie moonshine, and want to try the libertarian Kool-Aid, you should go to siestacava.com to get the wonderful, tasty kava that I drink on every episode of the Muddied Waters.
Oh, damn it. Allow me to thank... I'm getting water.
Okay.
I've been on an airplane all day. It's been a long day. Had a lot of things going on my plate.
The owner of siestacava.com is actually in the comments over on Twitch. I'm not going to say his name on here, but he is opening a kava bar near me, and I'm very excited about it. It's called the Kava Shack. So if any of you are in the Pinellas County region of Florida in the next few weeks, he will be opening the Kava Shack. Very excited to... Very excited to go there after they open and give him money, since he's been giving me so much free kava for the last 6-8 months. I don't know how long he's been a sponsor, but wonderful place. Yeah, Sarah, super fan Sarah Anderegg's in the comments, and she says that it's dope. But yeah, if you are a Twitcher, if you're twitchy, you should go to Twitch and follow us there so we can become affiliates or whatever it is that you do on Twitch besides stream video games while sitting in hot tubs. We aren't going to stream video games while sitting in hot tubs, but we will stream all of our shows live on Twitch. For Jason, Siesta Kava, you spelled siesta correct. Kava is with a K, K-A-V-A. Siesta Kava, Kava.com. Yeah, Spike does need some kava. When he comes down for the Florida Libertarian Party of Florida convention, I'm going to see if I can get him to drink some on a show that we may or may not be doing live together. From
freaking tap water. That's fine. Yum. Water from the tap. And I'd like to thank Myrtle Beach Municipal Water System for this delicious water that I'm drinking. Because what the hell?
Bulavanaka.
Bulavanaka.
The YouTube feed is apparently jerky, and I'm not blaming YouTube this time.
I'm blaming YouTube. What happened with YouTube?
I don't know. She just said it was being jerky. I don't know what that means.
I mean, I'm being jerky. So it could just be that. Folks,
yeah.
Speaking of jerky,
Surprises over on Twitch and gets all of the feeds there. So, if you are a Twitchy person, all you have to do is go to Twitch and you can help make us affiliates.
This is the arsenic-free water. This episode is brought to you by the Libertarian... Where is it?
I don't know. I don't see your computer.
This episode is brought to you by the Libertarian Party Waffle House Crocus, the fastest-growing waffle-related. If you go to the Muddy Water store, you can buy buttons that have this on it for only $5. And that'll change everything for you, really. Gravy King, Cumberland Cannabis, which sells CBD gummies from Tennessee. CBD from Tennessee. You can Google that and see what that means. Joe Solosky is running for governor of Pennsylvania. You want to help him? That's fantastic. Go to joesolosky.com, JoeSoloski.com, and you can help Joe Solosky run for governor. He's the key. It says right there, key to Pennsylvania's success. And if it says it there, well... Who the hell are you to question that, huh?
You're learning it here, and we have never lied to you.
Jack Casey has these books. The Royal Ring, the Green Ring, and the Butterfly with the Dagger. And his next book, please buy it, and I'll name it whatever you'd like, is coming out this summer. Just in time for the 4th of July. If you go to royalgreen.com, theroyalgreen.com, you can buy these and more fantastic books written by a libertarian
Who has fantastic hair.
who has great, I've not seen his
Just,
hair.
just a mane of liberty flowing off of the top of that man's dome.
You can get that book, royalgreen.com, and Chris Reynolds. If you feel like suing someone after watching this, I don't blame you, because so do I. And you can go to chrisreynoldslaw.com and you can start that process. But you'll lose because I'm Jewish. chrisreynoldslaw.com. Folks, this episode is a great episode, and there's many reasons for it. Number one, I'm falling asleep slowly because I've been on an airplane all day, and right before we started this show, I ate a very large meal because I hadn't eaten all day. And I sat down, I ate this meal, and I said, this is going to give me the energy that I need to conquer the rest of this evening. And instead, nope, that's not happening, Matt.
That's not the way that works.
That's not how food works, apparently.
It seems like that's how it would work, but instead your body's just like, well, now that I have sustenance, I need rest.
Food gives you energy is a huge crock that big food is selling you to get you to buy more food.
Yeah.
Big food's just trying to get you to buy food. You know what energy comes from? Not eating, apparently. That's where it's really at. Not eating and having to run to make your connecting flight. That's where energy comes from.
Yeah, that's where you get your real endorphins.
That's where melatonin comes from. So, folks, the other reason this episode is so great. The other reason this episode is so great is we have a special guest, Matt. His name, and he's been very patient because it's 8:30.
Oh yeah, he has been very patient.
Imagine being him.
I feel so sorry for our next guest.
I feel terrible for him.
He is currently running for Florida's 20th House District, running for Congress in Florida's 20th House District. Please welcome Mike Ter Maat.
How are you, gentlemen?
We're already better because you're here, Mike.
Well, I can see that. I'm just sorry that my mane of liberty has been receding the past few years, but I bring what I have.
Yeah, no, I'm right behind you, pal. We're Matt apparently isn't, but I am. This is incidentally, everyone. If you ever see me with hair plugs, absolutely that is a signal that I'm running for president. Just go ahead and know that right now. I'm not. There's no.
That'll be the big tip off.
That'll be the big tip off. If suddenly I have a really nice the hairline I had in my 20s, then you know that's the signal. Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you? What brought you to libertarianism? How did you become a libertarian?
I became a police officer a dozen years ago after I became a libertarian, as strange as that may seem to some folks. I like the idea of being employed to protect people's liberty. I was an Austrian-trained economist long before that, so I come by our party honestly.
That is quite a career, a character arc there. You went from an Austrian economist police officer.
And trust me, I'm not going to pick on you for strange arcs of career. So I'll let you slide on that. I'm not sure you want to be the one to throw that stone right
now. Well, then I won't pick on you either.
Touche. That's just
touche. No, it's very true. Very true.
But thank you. I appreciate that. I am a pro-reform police officer and an Austrian-trained economist, and that means, of course, that there's two things I can't stand. One is crime, and the other is Marxism. But I repeat myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's you don't like tuna or fish. So wait, are you still active duty or you're retired?
Well, don't tell my boss. I'm not retired. I am active duty. I work today, as a matter of fact.
And are you a beat cop or you're a detective or what are?
I am a beat cop. I am on the beat. I'm a patrol officer here in South Florida. I drive a car, a marked unit.
Wow.
I have for about 11 years.
Did
Yeah,
you
you
know
don't-
this, Matt? I didn't know this.
I had no idea. You don't hear a lot of you don't hear about a lot of libertarians that are currently police officers.
My job is to protect your liberty every day. Well, not yours because you were in an airport today, but if you were in my jurisdiction, it would be my job to protect your liberty.
That's fair. So, a Rothbardian police officer. Okay, cool. So, what are some of the okay, so you're a police officer. What you said you're pro reform. What are some of the reforms you'd like to see in your practice and in law enforcement in general?
Well, some of them are the libertarian bread and butter, right? We shouldn't be criminalizing so many things. There's a lot of justice reform vehicles that we should be pursuing outside of narrowly defined police reform, right? Possession shouldn't, whether it's weed or anything else, shouldn't be illegal. Consenting adults should have the right to do in privacy whatever it is that they're going to do if it's not hurting anyone.
Right.
And other bread and butter issues like asset forfeiture, prison sentencing. There's any number of libertarian issues, but in the police reform arena, particularly, one of the things that I push that I'd really like to see is that we need a reformed labor market for police officers. I think one of the things that goes wrong in our career is that you don't see any ability for police officers to become aligned with their particular departments in terms of the types of skills the department should be looking for. Police officers' pensions are so often not portable. And so you have officers get locked into a particular agency for their entire career. And so the unions try to protect officers from getting fired. And thus, it's almost impossible, as most people are well aware, to fire a police officer, just like it's almost impossible to fire a teacher, right?
Or any government employee, right.
Any government employee. That is by and large the case, and it is the case at almost any level and any jurisdiction around the United States, or for that matter, anywhere in the world, right? The United States is not unique in this sense.
Right.
And that's just not how labor markets work in more efficient industries. It's not how the labor market should work in policing or in teaching, for that matter.
So then in your, I guess, preferred policy change in this is that people would be more, the police would be more portable in where they would go based on what their, like, for example, if they're and correct me if I'm wrong, if their thing is, for example, in forensics or something like that, that they could go based on where they're needed most for that, as opposed to being stuck to a specific agency or department. Am I getting that correctly?
That would be absolutely a good example, and thanks for being so gracious about it. But it can be as rudimentary as sometimes somebody needs to be dismissed, right? They need to be told that their skills are just not aligning with what we're looking for in this agency, and they need to go elsewhere. Okay. We need to be able to recruit officers who are mid-career. That's a very difficult thing to do, again, because so often union contracts force new officers to start at the bottom of the salary scale. So it's very difficult to have any sort of churn that you would see in other industries.
Oh, okay. So it's not based on your performance. It's based on how long you've been in that agency. And so if you try to bring someone in mid-career, they're not going to do it because they're already getting paid this much. They don't want to come in at the ground floor while some schmuck that's nowhere near as good as them that they actually want to replace, ideally, is making more off the. Oh, okay. Well, no, I agree with that. I mean, and
it works that way for teachers, and there's any other things that we would like for the market to, in ways we would like the market to look more like other industries as well. Police should be more transparently held accountable. We should be negotiating for the right to pay the best officers more. Right. The right to penalize officers who perform less. It should be like any other industry.
Now, I know this is not, you're running for a state house race, and I guess theoretically this could happen There could be state legislation that could affect this, but this is more than likely a federal fix. But because you are a police officer, what are your thoughts on qualified immunity?
You are running for Congress, not state
This
house.
is a federal U.S.
Oh, you're
seat.
running for the U.S. House
Yeah,
District
he's running
20.
for Congress.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Well, then, for both reasons, what are your thoughts on qualified immunity?
Well, there's any number of things to be said about qualified immunity, including the fact that it doesn't affect so many cases as we might otherwise be led to believe. But the most important thing about qualified immunity is the threat that it would affect any number of cases. And look, I think everyone needs to understand, especially police officers. My fellow officers, I think, have a hard time, myself included, realizing that this is on the rails. There is going to be change, right?
Right.
And as they say in Washington, you're either at the table or you're on the menu. So police officers need to get to the table and participate in the negotiation of how this is going to go down.
Right.
Police officers fear the end of qualified immunity, of course, because they don't want to be held personally liable for a mistake that they make at work, right? If you were in any other business, you make a mistake at work, how bad can it be? You get the wrong jelly in the roll. But you make a mistake as a police officer, the results can be horrendous, can be catastrophic, can be life and death.
Right. Right.
And it's, so often, I don't want to talk about individual cases, but often the horrific things we see truly are mistakes. And what I think that we need to come to terms with is at the end of qualified immunity is a much bigger deal for employers than for employees, because at the end of the day, employers are going to have to hold employees harmless. Right? There's going to have to be indemnification, whether that's in the form of an insurance policy like malpractice and other industries, or whether it'll be explicit by contract. Nobody's going to do this job, right? If you're told, well, the good news is we're going to pay you a humongous salary like $50,000 a year, but you might lose your house every once in a while. It's not really a bargain too many people are going to sign up for.
Yeah, no.
So,
qualified immunity would almost certainly give way to bonding and insurance for individual officers and agencies. It would have to, both because that's what would cover when mistakes or actual negligence happens that leads to a bad outcome that causes that where they were operating outside of the law or violating someone's rights and get sued and successfully as a result. It also means that bad officers, if this wasn't just a mistake, if it's an ongoing thing, or if it was something that was actually as a result of actual malfeasance or negligence, they're not going to be able to get bonded, which means they're not going to be able to serve anymore. So part of that is the fact that I doubt it's going to be a cop makes a mistake and loses everything they have. It's just like anything else. If someone has a job that a mistake can result in something catastrophic, they are assuredly covered by E&O insurance or malpractice insurance or even just general liability. I had liability insurance when my company was in full swing. So I mean that comes with the territory and would necessarily need to.
Right, you're exactly right. And I appreciate you being so sensitive to the issues, because I know in your office there aren't mistakes made. But where I work, sometimes there are mistakes made. And
Absolutely.
This would give greater incentive for municipalities or other employers to align their training, right, with avoiding the costs that would come with a certain number of cases that would be brought to bear that aren't now because of the protection of qualified immunity. So it would, in the long run, I believe, do a better job of forcing employers to get more involved with training and to align training with the interests of the community.
Yeah, agreed. And it doesn't just need to be, because we focus on police officers, right? But anyone who is getting immunity from liability, whether we're talking absolute immunity for judges and prosecutors and politicians, qualified immunity for police officers and federal or government employees, including federal employees, or sovereign immunity, when you create an entity or a person that can be held harmless no matter how bad it is what they do, or at least in theory, no matter how bad it is what they do, that creates a very powerful perverse incentive for them not to be accountable, and it creates the cost-benefit analysis that allows bad officers to stay on the force. It leads to this sort of the so-called thin blue line culture of lack of accountability and all of these things. Whereas if you simply just create a system whereby police officers are every bit as accountable, and politicians and judges and prosecutors and everyone else are every bit as accountable, and public defenders for that matter are every bit as accountable. What's that?
Of course. Keep going. Don't let me interrupt you. You're
absolutely
on the rails here.
No, as accountable as anyone else would
Cohen,
be.
Let me ask you furthermore how you feel about police reform, because I think you're absolutely on track. When the courts don't work well, markets don't work well.
Exactly.
And libertarianism is about that. And, you were asking how I got involved with the idea of this campaign. It's because libertarianism is more important than just an ethics debate. Right?
Yeah.
It's really about making markets work, courts work in this case, and it has real life implications for real lives, for real people. And when things go wrong, whether it's because of bad policy generally or too much government interventionism or, an inability of people to avail themselves of liability courts, the problems disproportionately fall on folks at the bottom end of the economic ladder. And those folks make up the majority of this district, Florida's District 20. And so these issues are very important to me and very important to the folks in District 20. That's why I'm running for Congress.
That's awesome. Now, besides these specific issues, are there any other main issues that you're running on in your run for U.S. District or Florida District 20 for the U.S. Congress?
Economic development in general. Poverty spike, and you may have heard this before, but if there's anything that your listeners remember, poverty is not truly an economic phenomenon. It is a political phenomenon. Poverty comes from bad policy. Poverty comes from too much government interventionism. And for this reason, it's important that we bring more libertarianism to bear and less Marxism. Marxism is on the march in this country, and we need to do everything we can to stop it, and not because of the pride of our philosophy, because it makes people's lives worse.
You got me sold, man. I know you have questions.
Like,
you guys are great. When are you going to be moving down to District 20 so that we can vote correctly?
I got to look at where I've been to Hollywood, but I can't. It's near Fort Lauderdale, right?
That's right. I am only a little piece of Hollywood is in the district. We're between Fort Lauderdale and Miami. But this is a very odd district. It's horrendously gerrymandered. If there's an award for gerrymandering, I think this district would be in the run for it. It has some of Broward, it has some of Palm Beach County, and they are linked together by a strip of land out in the Everglades, and there's even a little bit of Dade County in there. So it's a sort of a hodgepodge. I'll be putting a lot of miles on the truck.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on a map, and it's basically like a big chunk of mostly uninhabited area with little like offshoots into the shoreline where the people actually live. That's right.
And it carefully avoids areas where the incomes are relatively high.
Yeah. That's what a weird. No, this was obviously a district created to protect a specific politician, whether that's the one that's still in office or not. That's wild.
Well,
I know you have
Mr.
questions.
Hastings was a long-beloved Democratic politician down here. He passed away in early April, so this is a special election. Okay. We were thinking it would probably be held in the fall, but the governor decided to put it off until January. So the Democrats will have their primary. The Republicans will have their primary also in November. I doubt the Libertarians will need a primary unless we find a second goofball that wants to take a bite of this apple. So we're waiting to get those primaries behind us to get it narrowed down to 3 candidates. As you might imagine, this is a very blue district. Democrats have been winning 80-20 against whatever Republican runs. Indeed, 2 elections ago, there was no Republican at all. So part of what it is that we're trying to accomplish is to demonstrate not only libertarianism, but to demonstrate to other libertarians that we can run in a blue district without either embarrassing ourselves or compromising our libertarian principles.
So are you planning on, so this could potentially be a 2-party race, or has the GOP said for certain they're running someone?
They have 3 people who are going to face off in a primary, depending on whether or not they all qualify and that sort of thing. But yeah, there's already 3 Republicans who have held up their hand.
Oh, okay. Matt, I know you have some questions.
Most of them have been covered. Mainly,
honestly,
he threw me off when he said that we obviously never make mistakes after being here for the pre-show.
No, I felt every bit of that shade in that comment, by the way.
Yeah, no, me too.
Mike. And it was well deserved too.
You guys run a tight ship. I'm just glad that we're still on time.
Yes, well, somewhere, yes, I'm sure we were on time. Let me ask you this: Are you coming up to the Libertarian Convention in Lakeland in a couple of weeks?
I am. When I found out that you were speaking there, I booked my truck.
Awesome. Well, we'll get to see you. There.
I look forward to shaking your hand.
I look forward to it too. You'll get to meet both of us there. So
yeah,
I guess so. Let's close this out, man. Tell us how people can, if people are going to want to help you. Tell us how people can reach you. What your website, your social media, all that stuff, so they can help you with your
Absolutely.
run.
The best thing to do is to go to the website, which is MikeTermaat2022.com. You got to spell it right though, right? It's MikeTermaat 2022.com. And I'd like to emphasize that my phone number and my email address are both there. And those are the real deal. That's not just some phone number that I picked out of the ether. So if any of your listeners would like to text me, give me a buzz, chit chat, maybe do a post-mortem on your show, I would love the opportunity. If somebody absolutely has a few bucks that, they just can't figure out what to do with it, they can waste that on the website as well, and we will put it to good use. Every time someone gives us a few bucks, I promise to buy another sign and put it in my boss's front yard. So,
well, yeah, we just
your boss.
included the link into the show notes, so everybody that is watching should be able to see that across all of the platforms. So hopefully. I'm not going to I did not know how this interview was going to go beforehand, but you impressed the hell out of me.
Well, aren't you kind? The most important thing, fellas, is that the people that live in this district, I believe, have not been represented well philosophically for many, many years. And if we can do nothing else but bring a little bit of light in the context of libertarianism to bear, then this will have been a success. And so, it's, if anyone does want to throw us a few bucks, I absolutely promise it'll go to good use.
Well, we certainly will send people your way. MikeTermaat2022.com, and we will see you in Lakeland in 3 weeks?
Couple weeks.
Yeah, I was going to say that's only a few weeks from now.
Yeah, it's 3 weeks.
I look forward to that. Thank you very much. Your show is terrific. I've been a fan, first-time talker.
Thank you. Yes, thank you
definitely appreciate that. Thank you,
for your patience,
and,
Mike.
Best
Have
of
a great
luck
night.
to you in the campaign.
Thank you. Take care, y'all.
You too. Didn't know what to think, and that was impressive.
Blew my mind. Blew my mind. That was fantastic.
That was great. That was great. No, that was good. So we're going to switch on over to Zoom because we hate Skype and only use it because we have got guests. So we're going to play this intermission, and then we will be right back in just one sleep.
We walked up into the field. We crawled up out of the ocean. Vast machines with crowded up gear.
Minus 10, 9,
Volcanic
8,
granite
7,
buzzing
6,
with motion.
5. We have filter ready to
We
start.
walked up
2,
into the
1,
field.
0. Booster ignition. And
Carried
lift
you
off.
low in our belly. Sometimes a day seems to tick on for years. Sometimes the sun sets a little bit early. We walked up into the field. We gathered around and around and around. Some places are graves that just haven't been dug. Some places are churches that haven't been found. We walked up into the field. We carried you high on our shoulders. Some plots are reserved from the beginning of time. Some feel
Do you want to get on? You want to get on Clubhouse?
We crawl up out of the ocean. An army of lichen and moss to watch the stone being rolled into place. 2 centurions guarding the cross, and of course we are all galaxies with spiraling arms. But some people are a little bit bigger. I've tried so hard not to finish this song, but here we are.
Hi. Matt, where is your camera?
I have no idea.
Okay. Are you still on Skype?
No. No, I am not. I am. Oh, wait. Hang on.
Are you on the Clubhouse? I started a thing.
Yes, I am on the Clubhouse.
Well, you must have started your own then.
No, I'm in with you.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I'm on. I am using my. I'm on Zoom. Skype isn't even open.
Fantastic. Okay, I don't know why we can't see you.
Okay, well, neat.
Good.
Can
Hey,
you see
folks.
me in Zoom?
Nope.
Okay, we're gonna try this one.
No, we're gonna just. There we go. That's what I'd like to see. We're getting somewhere.
We're trying. We're doing what we
trying.
can.
Well, folks, while Matt's trying to figure that out, we are going to do the next thing that we do here, which is called the Mudwater Masala Cacao Rapid Fire segment, brought to you by Mudwater. Folks, if you woke up today and said, oh my God, if I ever drink another cup of coffee again, I'm going to end it all. I would much rather drink something made out of masala chai, cacao, mushrooms, turmeric, sea salt, cinnamon, and that's literally it. Well, folks, I have some amazing news for you. If you go to muddywatersmedia.com/mud, you right now, right this very moment, can order your very first tin, I think that's what that's called, a tin container of mud water, which is delicious, kind of, and I mean, it tastes like coffee, basically, and is much better for you, and has a little bit of caffeine, but not nearly as much as. You should try it. Go to muddywatersmedia.com/mud. Try it today. It's gonna make you so happy. You're gonna be
Kids
such a
love
happy,
it.
happy. Kids love it.
Kids love it.
Kids love it, Matt.
Yes.
I still
Wow.
don't see it.
I am still not there. It is literally
Still
showing me on my
yes.
video.
How about that?
That is neat. That is neat
Neat.
stuff.
Neat. Yay. Have you checked that you've got the right camera selected?
I did have the right camera selected.
Oh, wow.
And then I switched it over to the one, just the computer one.
Mm.
And then anytime that
Fun.
oh, you know what? You know what happened here?
What happened here?
Do you want to know what happened here? I'm not even going to
I-
tell you what happened here.
Okay.
I'm not even going to tell you what happened here. I am just going to hope that that worked. Did that not work?
Nope. It
Okay.
did not work.
What about now? That one worked.
Yes, there we go. So, folks, while Matt's trying to figure out how the computer that he owns works, we're going to... No, and we lost him again. There. Nope.
That's
Nope.
my Logitech is not working
Oh, good.
on
Well,
Zoom.
Speaking of not working, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer was seen at a dive bar called Land Sharks in Florida over the weekend, violating numerous state-mandated COVID orders, including dining with more than 6 people and not wearing a mask. Oh, no, this actually was in Michigan that this happened.
Yes. That's why I said the Michigan governor.
Yeah. So, but she also told everyone not to leave the state, and then went to Florida
And then
on
she
vacation.
went to Florida.
Yeah,
Right.
then she went to Florida on vacation. But
Yes.
she was seen at a dive bar called Land Sharks over the weekend, violating numerous state-mandated COVID orders, including dining with more than 6 people and not wearing a mask. Matt?
That's right. And when she was asked about this scandal, she replied with, "They have pretty good pizza." I want to point out, this is not a joke.
Oh, she really said that?
She really said this.
Wow.
No, she really said this. She
I thought that was a joke that you wrote.
No, she legitimately said, and I knew you were going to do that, but yes, she legitimately said, like, she said, "I made a mistake, blah, blah, blah." But then she
Yeah.
goes, "If you are a Spartan or wherever it's close to, I don't know, whatever college it's near, you know the place. It's a restaurant now. They have pretty good pizza."
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. She legitimately said that.
Do we get to say that to her? Like,
No.
when we go there. By the way, I'm going to be in Michigan for my birthday weekend, June 25th, 26th, and 27th, for the Libertarian Party of Michigan's convention, which is going to be illegally held at a native. Let me pull it up because it's so awesome. Because we're holding it on a freaking native reservation at a casino because they're like, "Hey, screw you, we're a sovereign nation," and Michigan's like, "No, you still have to follow the law," and they're like, "Nope, not our laws, paleface." Yeah, 26th and 27th at the Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort in beautiful Michigan. Where the hell is this? In Michigan. It's on the Isabella Reservation, just outside of Mount Pleasant in Michigan. That's where it's in the middle, it's a dead center of Michigan. Yep. So if you go there, come out to the casino, you can see us, and we can just thumb our noses at the governor who is thumbing her own nose at her own policies, just to show how serious she thinks this is. That's probably why she's letting us do it. Turns out the Soaring Eagle Casino must have some fantastic pizza, huh? So
That better be, so one day I do want to go to Land Sharks in Michigan and try it. And if that pizza is not the best damn pizza I've ever had, which
Yep.
it's in Michigan, so I'm already thinking it's not.
no, that's true. No, you're
I mean, it's not New York
It's
or
Michigan.
Chicago.
No,
I'm sorry. It's just not the
Michigan.
best.
It's
Michigan. But yeah, if that's not the best damn pizza, I'm just going to say you're a liar, Gretchen Whitmer.
Lying Gretchen.
Lying Gretchen.
Lying Gretchen. Well, speaking of liars from the Midwest, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot announced that for the 2-year anniversary of her term as mayor, that she would be granting one-on-one interviews to journalists as long as they aren't white. She says that Chicago mayor Marianne Ahern of NBC says, as Chicago's mayor, or Lori Lightfoot, reaches her 2-year midway point as mayor, her spokeswoman says Lightfoot is granting one-on-one interviews only to black or brown journalists.
Yes.
No white journalists.
No white journalists. No. So Tulsi Gabbard,
noted white supremacist Tulsi Gabbard, who is brown.
Noted white supremacist Tulsi Gabbard actually called Lightfoot out and asked that Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and other leaders join her in calling for the Chicagoans' resignation. She said that her blatant anti-white racism is abhorrent, and she calls upon Biden, Harris, and other leaders of our county, but I assume she meant country, of all races, to join me in calling for Mayor Lightfoot's resignation. Our leaders must condemn all racism, including anti-white.
And you might be thinking, well, that's okay, because I'm sure the brown reporters like this. Well, no, not really. Gregory Pratt says, I am a Latino reporter with Chicago Tribune whose interview request was granted for today. However, I asked the mayor's office to lift its condition on others, and when they said no, we respectfully canceled. Politicians don't get to choose who covers them. That's the key point here. Yes, there's the racism aspect, or the race preference, because some people say that it's impossible to be racist against white people because reasons. And but even putting that aside, this is an elected official,
right,
saying, I'm only going to talk to people that I want to based on their
race,
skin color.
Yes.
That's not dangerous. Now, I've seen on Twitter, people have said, yeah, well, Donald Trump, he only granted a handful, 1 or 2 interviews to people who weren't white. Okay, well, that's also bad. And if it was doing that, and then that's bad too. And that doesn't mean to do that in reverse.
Right.
That doesn't.
The two wrongs don't make a right. I think
two wrongs don't make a right. Yeah. Yeah.
We learned that a long time ago.
As children, we learned
as children.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's as children.
Children.
It is great whataboutism. But yeah, for her to just say, no, I'm only going to be granting it to this certain group is exceptionally racist. Just like if Donald Trump were to say, no, I'm not going to give you an interview because you are black or brown. That would be exceptionally racist.
Yeah, no, I'm
equally wrong.
Yeah, it would be wrong. It would be the president refusing to talk to people based on a identity trait that they have zero control over, and it would be really racist. So let's not anyone do that, okay? I could even see giving preference to black and brown, but to say I'm only going to speak with black and brown report, really?
Right.
Okay. Wonderful. So, imagine the precedent here. I mean, that could lead to, libertarian politicians and candidates who don't like to give interviews to people.
Because they're afraid of gotcha questions.
So, speaking of
people who don't like talking to reporters.
Yeah, no, speaking of people who don't like talking to reporters and ran for president, Joe Biden will not be the commencement speaker at Notre Dame this year, nor will he receive an honorary degree from the distinguished university, Matt.
Right. And if somebody were to ask the White House, it's due to a scheduling conflict. If somebody were to ask the 4,300 plus staff and alumni that signed a petition asking him not to be invited, they would say it's because of that petition.
That's that's quite a conflict.
Right.
Now, he did end up being invited by the Uni Press, but that
president,
was...
university president.
The university don't use shorthand in the show notes, please. I thought that was like a name of a thing by the university president, but that was before the petition was turned in.
Right. So this actually makes his administration the first administration to not speak at Notre Dame's graduation during the freshman year of leadership in over 20 years. Wow. Bill Clinton was the last one that didn't speak in 1993.
Was that because of a scheduling conflict?
I don't know. I'm willing to bet he wasn't invited.
Yes, I'm guessing as well.
I'm willing to bet. So back in 2001, George Bush spoke. In 2009, Barack Obama spoke. In 2017, Mike Pence spoke. And it is unclear, which is why I wrote administration instead of president. And it is unclear whether or not they extended the invite to Kamala Harris. Also not a joke.
No, So on the podcast H3, which I don't know what that is.
I have no clue what this is.
What is this?
I don't know anything about H3. I don't know anything that they cover. I just know that the people on the show said this.
Yeah, I mean, the CDC is like this whole governmental body with scientists and shit that just tell us what to do. You don't have to think about it, dude.
That video has 1.3 million views at the time that I wrote these notes.
Do their videos often have that many views?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They are condoning that we just blindly listen to the government and we don't have to think about it. And when that guy said that, when he said the CDC is just like, a governmental body filled with like scientists and they just tell us what to do and you don't even have to think about it, dude. He says it in the exact voice that I hear anybody talking about. Well, the CDC said, like, that is the voice that everybody adopts in my brain.
Yep.
The moment I heard
the
it,
CDC saying it, bro, you just go with it.
You just go with it. You just got to do it, dude. Like this, you don't even have to think about it.
Now, this is the same CDC that has spent a year basically calling everyone racist, anti-Chinese, and transphobic if they even suggested that it was possible that the COVID-19 originally accidentally leaked from the Wuhan lab in China. Now they're reversing and saying, well, actually, there is no consensus on that. It turns out that actually could have happened, which is what many scientists were already saying as they were being kicked off social media and publicly and politically ostracized for even suggesting it. And now it turns out that might actually, possible, maybe even 50-50. Now, a lot of that is coming from U.S. intelligence reports. Huge grain of salt, as always. But basically, we're having to decide whether the Chi-Coms or intelligence services are lying more, which is scary as hell. But regardless of that, that's the same CDC that said you couldn't test for COVID for months. And they just really keep losing. And everyone else suffers, but you can totally listen to them.
Right.
I don't know what H3 is, so I won't be watching it.
I think they talk about MMA because that was coming after a Joe Rogan thing where they were ranting about Joe Rogan. But
speaking of idiots,
in other wasted money.
Speaking of wasteful idiots, the Pentagon has announced that there will be an audit of the Department of Defense.
Now, the Pentagon has never passed an audit, not once. And in completely unrelated news, the Pentagon continues to confirm UFO footage.
I said this on Kennedy yesterday. We talked about the aliens, and I said, well, I'm not worried. First of all, Pentagon is not going to, the government's not going to release everything they know about UFOs if there's anything real there. Secondly, we clearly, if there are aliens, we don't have anything to fear from them, because if they were able to come all the way here, they could easily kill all of us without us even being the wiser, and they haven't yet. So clearly, they're libertarians because they have a non-interventionist foreign policy. They do the occasional probing just to see what's up, maybe. That might just get blamed.
They respect property rights, it seems.
They respect property rights. They're good. They're just waiting to see if we as a species enlighten and evolve to the point of also adopting libertarianism. So if you want to do all the fun laser, like space laser stuff and warp drives and all that kind of fun stuff, we gotta push liberty along. We gotta push libertarianism along so that they can see that we're also non-interventionists, and so that we can go and be with the aliens. And also, by the way, and this was one of the other guests said, I don't remember if it was Kennedy or one of the other guests who said this, but we always see aliens as these like ugly green things. What if they're hot? What if you're missing out on that? And they're not even going to care that they're way hotter than you, because you're like kind of this like new thing.
It's like when you go to a foreign country.
Yeah.
You go to a foreign country and you speak in your American accent. People are like, "Oh, that's a sexy accent," and you're thinking, "What?
So different. Why do I feel like this?" Right? So this, what if that's what you're missing out on? What if the aliens are out here like, "Oh my gosh, look at them. They look like monkeys. Oh my gosh, they look like monkeys. Oh, they look like little monkeys. I just wanted." So and here we are. We're like, "Oh, the green men are gonna come and probe us." And it turns out maybe, but you might like it.
I guarantee that at least one person in the comments section right now would hook up with an alien day one, no matter what they looked like. I don't know who in the comments, but I guarantee one person in the comments would.
No one's copying up to it, but Matt Hicks is just saying that they're baby owls.
Right.
But Matt Hicks said he would, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I did say anal probes on national TV. Well, first of all, Kennedy said anal probes. I just said to her, I thought it was really great how she transitioned in her monologue from Jimmy Carter to anal probes, or anal probes to Jimmy Carter. Yeah, no, I think we're missing out.
No. And legitimately, I think I'm going to take back the word legitimately, because I don't know how legitimately I think this, but I think that they are actually releasing they're confirming all of the UFO footage, because they're going to fail that audit, and they're going to say, well, we couldn't tell you where this money was going, and that was to UFO research.
Because of the aliens, yeah.
We have UFO research we had to do, but we couldn't put that in there. So that's why we're failing.
I can't wait till the aliens come and say, we didn't do any of this. We had nothing to do with this. They lied. Humans lied. People died. That is a good question about robust alien genitalia. We're going to revive that. Yeah, one of my guests, we were talking about trans bills, and that there was actually references to how robust someone's phallus was. So, folks, now you're probably thinking everything you're talking about hurts, and to the point where I feel injured and want to sue. Well, I have great news for you, because you can sue us with personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, who is also the sponsor of the personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law Anchor Call-In Moment, where you can go to anchor.fm/muddied waters, and you can leave us messages, and we will play them right here on this segment every Tuesday usually, and we will play them right here for you. You can also leave money for us. If you go in that same section, there's a donate button. You can leave us some money.
And
So
if
here are
you
the
do,
messages.
your name will appear in the credits at the end of the episode.
Yes, and we will. We will play that. You're losing me. We will play that. I'm losing me too. We will play that at the end, and you'll have your name on it because we love you that much. So here
That's
we
right.
have three messages today. Here's our first one from Kenneth Ebel. Nope. Why is
Nope.
that not playing?
I don't know.
Nope, none of them are playing. Oh, good. Here, let me-
Neat.
Neat. Neato.
So yeah,
Oh,
go
I know why
visit
that is. I know why that is. No. I know why that is.
So still go to chrisreynoldslaw.com if you live in the
chrisreynoldslaw.com.
Florida region of the United States and you feel personally injured by the people producing this show.
All right, here we go.
Hello, Tasha Cohen's spouse and superfan Sarah Anderegg's future husband, if I'm so presumptuous. This is Kenneth Ebel live on the Chris Anchor attorney at Reynolds call-in moment. Live, unlike my friend Dale, who had a heart attack at a necrophilia convention. Anyhow, what are your views on the... That's too good. The Carnegie Steel Company and Standard Oil monopolies in the antitrust movement back in the early 1900s.
So Kenneth messaged me the other day, and he said, "Hey, you may want to screen my calls," and I said, "I was like, Kenneth,
no, Kenny,
Bubba, I have never needed to screen your calls. You have sent me this message multiple times, and you have never said anything that I would potentially not want on the air." And I stand by that still. I mean, I still stand by that. He still has not said anything that I care about having on the air. But he liked that joke so much.
So the actual question, antitrust came out of the fact that you had monopolies that were enforced by government. It wasn't just that they dominated the market through just, the best business practices. They dominated the market because they used the power of local and state and federal government to entrench them as the top players through subsidization, through policies that essentially made them the only player, through direct contracts with government agencies. They were the original cronies, and the antitrust was basically like the better way to have handled that, instead of creating laws that now make it illegal to try to create dominant companies. Instead, the better way to have handled that would have just been to stop creating the conditions for monopolization. And for dominance of a market sector outside of actual good practice, good business practices that leads to domination. So it was unnecessary. I get why they did it, but the better way would have been to eliminate the conditions that led to that in the first place. So here's the next one from Kenneth Ebel.
Hello, this is Ken once again. My wife asked me a question this week, and I thought it would be a good one to pass along to you guys. So a little quick pretext, she's not really interested in politics, but she does like guns, not enough to understand why there's a van parked across the street all the time, but she likes guns. But she was listening to this podcast, and they mentioned the whole good guy with the gun scenario and how that wouldn't prevent something like the Las Vegas shooting from happening. My quick answer to her how would gun control do anything to stop that? I can make all the guns that he used, allegedly, from home. So, it takes a mill, or someone with a CNC machine or something like that. But what's your guys' answer? Do you guys have any opinions or any insights to this? Thanks. Bye.
Do you have any thoughts on this? Because I definitely do.
So, a good guy with a gun would not have been able to really stop the Las Vegas shooter. That's kind of true. I have
Once
my
he
own
was up there, yeah.
Once he was up there doing his thing, and and before all the comments on, there were multiple shooters, it was a CIA op. Let's just run on the assumption that the story that they gave us was real.
Right.
That it was just one guy that carried an arsenal up to a hotel room and opened fire on a concert. One of my buddies was actually on stage of that concert, the band before the shooting started.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, his name's Lee Hewson, and he's a guitar player. Like, he's a session guitar player out of Nashville. And yeah, he was up on that stage right before it started. But gun control also would not have done anything, because I don't know Nevada's gun control laws, but I'm pretty certain most of the guns that were used were not legal.
Well, and also mass murder is illegal.
Well, yeah, that, sure, that works also.
Okay. So they do have pretty lenient gun restrictions, but the casino doesn't. He was still able to get in there. He was still able to get his guns in there and still able to open fire on people. Gun control wouldn't have stopped this. There is not any shootings happen all the time in areas with gun control. Unfortunately, shootings are going to happen, and in general, the best bet to stop someone with a gun who's hurting people is to have other people with guns who don't want to hurt people and want to protect themselves and others. Would that have been effective with the Las Vegas shooting? Would someone firing back have potentially slowed him down, or at least stopped, killed him, or stopped him from being able to fire with impunity? Maybe not. But it wouldn't have been any worse than what happened.
I don't remember how high up he was. I think it was pretty high. So if somebody at the concert had like a handgun on them, that would have done.
Yeah, it would have done nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You were going to need some real power, and you aren't bringing that to a concert with you.
You're not bringing a high-powered rifle to a concert, more than likely. So no, probably not. But this is an interesting thing. Some of the first, the two of the biggest incidents that created modern gun control that happened in the 1960s and moving forward from there were the JFK assassination and the Kent State shooting. Both of those were examples of people in high buildings shooting people with a rifle, and it led to fear of guns because people thought, well, how am I going to be able to defend against that? It's one thing if someone's in front of me with a pistol or something, or nearby, but if they're sniping, then that's going to be hard. Now, Las Vegas shooting has a similar vibe to that it's someone up, has the high ground and is firing on a crowd of people, like in Kent State. Gun control isn't going to stop it. There are plenty of gun laws on the books, including the NFA, that are federal. There are state gun laws in Nevada. You can't stop bad people from trying to hurt people. But what you can do is reduce the conditions that typically lead to that happening, and getting rid of gun control does that.
Right.
There is no perfect solution. There's always going to be murder. There's always going to be mass murder, unfortunately.
Right. And I was listening to another podcast today. Your Clubhouse weirdly just went out.
Mine did?
Yeah, don't know why. Just kicked you right on out. But I was listening to another podcast today, and they were saying, there is no perfect solution. There's going to be issues in any society. Some of them just have a lot more issues, like, Marxist, socialist. They're going to have a lot more problems than, say, a completely free society.
Right.
And people who often will speak about a libertarian society or an anarchist society, people will always come back with, who will build the roads, or who are you going to call if somebody breaks into your house, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
When you're looking at all societies put together, the one that you have the greatest survival rate in is going to be the one where you have the most freedom and you have the most amount of ability to protect yourself, your land, your property. So you want something that gives you that.
Sarah Foster says it perfectly. It's a forbidden fruit law. Okay, so we have good guys with guns and bad guys with guns. Let's take the good guys' guns. Now we have bad guys with guns and good guys without guns. And that's perfect. That's actually perfect, yes. To punish the bad guys, we take the guns from the people that are following the law, who are the exact people you want to have guns, or at least that you are less concerned about having guns. So that's actually that's perfect.
Yeah, if you outlaw guns, only outlaws have guns.
Right, exactly. And here is our last question from Matt Laser Legend Hicks.
Hello there, guy on left and Tasha's husband. This is Matt Hicks calling in on the personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor calling moment. TM. I don't really have anything I want to talk about today. I just wanted to say hi to you guys. I feel like I owe it to you. I'm really busy. I'm doing this summer job at a law firm and all of this, and I get home late and I eat dinner late, and then I'm sad. So sad. Anyway. Love you guys. Keep being awesome. Do you. Hashtag Laser Legend.
We miss you, Matt.
Yeah. We do miss you. We miss you a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, we do. We miss you a lot, and I don't want you to be sad.
Don't want you to be sad.
Well, folks, if you're feeling sad and you want to leave us messages, you too can do that by going to anchor.fm/muddiedwaters, and you can leave us messages to tell us how sad you are and how much you miss us. And you can give us money too. That way we'll miss you as well.
Yes. Did you see somebody in the comments ask what kind of product Gravy King was?
It's just the Gravy King.
It's just the Gravy King.
It's
nothing else.
By the Gravy King.
It's brought to you by Gravy King. That is the only thing that can. That's all we can say about that. So,
yep.
Because we like to point out that we're right. It's the only reason I did this next one.
Yes.
I could not go back to find the video that proves that we were right. You're just going to have to take our word on it that we were correct. For years.
We're always right.
We're always right. Yep, you're off at Clubhouse again. We might not be able to do Clubhouse during shows. Yeah, I don't know. For years, Trump and his peeps promised that tariffs applied to imports from China would not be paid by Americans. We all remember these speeches.
Yes.
Trump would, China's going to pay for it. It's going to be great. We're going to win this trade war. We're losing the trade war against China. America will not pay for it. America will not pay a dime. And now Biden, not surprisingly, he has taken the same approach in his arguing and logic when it comes to arguing for tariffs against China. But according to a new report from Moody's Investor Service, Americans are picking up quite a bit of that burden. And can anybody out there guess the amount Americans are paying of the tariff burden? throw in a percentage that you think we are paying. Just toss them in the comments there.
Yeah, just
just
because you're gonna be wrong. Just I was wrong.
Yeah, I was wrong too. I was reading the article and I was mentally guessing what it was, and I was wrong. Matt Hicks is saying 100%, starry-eyed surprise, 20%, 150 from Kenneth Ebel, 90+% from Katie from our YouTube listeners, 75%, 110. So the actual number, 92.4%. 92.4% of the tariffs are being paid by you, the American consumer.
Yep.
I'm going to let everybody out there know right now, this doesn't get prettier by the end of this story.
Yeah.
So on Chinese products that got hit with a 20% tariff rate bump, the American consumer picked up roughly 95% of it, or some could posit roughly all of it.
95% is essentially all of it.
All of it. It's pretty much all of it. Like
it's basically all of it.
If you and I are going out to dinner and you say, let's split the bill.
Yeah.
I'm going to take 7.6%. You take 92.4%.
Yep.
I'm going to just be like, well, why am I paying for the entire dinner?
Yeah. 95% is we go out to dinner. The bill is $40. I pay $2 and you pay $38.
Right.
You paid for it. So to make matters worse, when China hit America with new tariffs on American goods, U.S. exporters lowered the prices of goods affected by the retaliatory tariffs by nearly 50%, meaning that they actually lost. And here's the part that some of y'all didn't get about the tariffs. China is the one calling the shots right now because they're where the base of cost is lower, and and our government is currently subsidizing the import of products back into the U.S. and has created regulatory conditions that make it increasingly impossible for domestic manufacturers and providers to compete with Chinese ones even here. In that kind of scenario, any kind of hit being put on consumers is going to disproportionately harm us and affect us poorly, and they're going to be able to adapt to it because everyone wants their product to move to that market, and there's no subsidization or incentivization of shortchanging them happening.
Right. So before 2018, the average tariff on imports from China, this made me so mad when I was reading this, because it made perfect sense to me, but it still made me just mad because I knew who was paying this. The average tariff on imports from China was 3.1%, according to the Peterson Institute for International Economics. Now, the average tariff on Chinese imports is 19.3%. I'm not a mathematician, but I know that is much higher than 3.1. The retaliatory tariffs imposed by China hiked its fees on American-made goods from 8% to 20.7%.
And again, in their case, almost half of it was eaten up, or roughly half of it was eaten up by U.S. producers. So it was not the same where it was, where they were paying all those fees on the
right.
tariffs. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, Trump and Joe Biden will look at this and say that the average Chinese import is 19.3% and the average American export is 20.7%, and they will say that the tariff gap has closed.
Right.
From 4.9% to 1.4%. We're winning the war. we're catching up, everything's getting
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
But this win is definitely coming at our expense, at your expense, at the American payer's expense, because instead of just opening up trade, which would lower cost for us, they are making everything much more expensive under the false guise that we need to win a trade war because they are charging more money for our products to get shipped into their country than we are to get their products shipped into ours.
And again, because China is the base of manufacturing and operations now, U.S. manufacturers are willing to take that price hit that Chinese manufacturers don't have to make.
Right.
Because it is absolutely a buyer's market for their products and not so much the other way around. So this hurts Americans both ways, and drives up the cost of living and drives down profits for American-based companies, but they'll be able to say, yeah, we've closed the gap, and that's a win. Now, the American Action Forum says that these tariffs have increased consumer costs by about $57 billion per year. The vast majority of that is being paid for by the people that buy Chinese goods, meaning people that don't have as much money. The lower on the economic spectrum you are, the higher a percentage of the products that you're buying are made in China or have parts that are made in China. The Tax Foundation estimates it to be roughly the equivalent of an $80 billion tax increase on U.S. businesses.
But America first. America first. We're going to win this war. Researchers from Columbia University, Princeton University, the Federal Reserve Bank, which, concluded that the tariff costs have been passed on entirely, or at least, 92.4%, to the U.S. importers and consumers. So when you take a look at the effects of the tariff, when you add the effects of the tariffs to the inflation that is growing rampantly, add in the fastest growing economy in history, which it's only the fastest growing economy in history because the government shut down the economy for all of last year.
And is dumping money into it to try to stimulate spending. Yeah.
Yep. The outlook is bleak for the American dollar in the future.
Looks good for crypto, though.
Great for crypto.
By the way, that's why you're getting all these articles about how, Bitcoin is terrible for the environment. It's really bad. It's a very ecologically unfriendly. Nothing nowhere near as ecologically unfriendly as fiat currency, which is enforced in its value through the through wars and taxation compliance and all of that. The reason that U.S. Federal Reserve dollars have any presumed value at all is because they make you pay all of your taxes in it, which means every transaction you make has to either be made in U.S. dollars or partially converted into U.S. dollars to pay your tax burden, which is roughly 40% of the entire economy. And the cost of converting 40% of the economy into U.S. dollars is more than just using the U.S. dollar. And the hit you take is that it constantly loses value slowly over time. The other way that they keep propped up the dollars through the petrodollar policy, which is where they have foreign governments. They force foreign governments, instead of holding actual reserves of actual value like gold or metals or whatever, instead they hold U.S. Treasury bills, IOU notes, as their foreign reserves. And the countries who don't do that always just seem to need to be liberated by the U.S. military for some reason. Oddly enough, yeah. If you're a small country, the two ways that you can keep the U.S. government from attacking you is to either use their treasury notes as your foreign reserve currency in your central bank, or to get nukes. And if you get nukes, then they'll just blockade you and try to destroy your economy. Whereas if you just take on their damn IOU notes, they'll leave you alone, which is extortion. But that's the reason that it even has any presumed value at all. And if you think of just how much Oh, and then you got to factor in the cost of maintaining the actual banking system around the world. All of the physical banks, all of the banking regulators, all of the money markets, everything related to the global worldwide fiat currency system. Yeah, that uses a lot more power and energy than the crypto mining and the blockchain. The reason that they're putting this stuff out is because they are destroying their currency, and they've got to convince you that it's bad to use crypto.
Well,
It's not going to work.
actually, they're working on their very own crypto.
Yes.
They're working on their very own crypto. Mr. Necrophiliac joke guy sent me an article about it yesterday, I believe. And don't let anything fool you. The U.S. government has been working towards crypto for longer than anybody has ever really thought about crypto, because they have been working toward completely digital money. When they started doing check cards, where you could just take in your credit card and it just pulls it right from your bank, they were reducing the use of cash back then. Everything was going to be digitally tracked.
Oh, they've been moving towards paperless money, but they didn't think up the blockchain. They still wanted to have their centralized system that they can game and rig and print out endless notes, which is what any so-called crypto that comes or digital coin that comes from any central bank is going to be. It's going to be some new version of fiat that's just more efficient for them because it's just printed on a ledger.
It's going to be Dogecoin, but they're not going to have limits because they're not going to want to be restricted in that way. They're not going to want to be held. The Pentagon needs $21 trillion to fend off aliens. I don't know. But they are not going to want to give off. They're not going to want to give up that kind of power. So they're going to say crypto, but it's all going to be made up, much like fiat already is. They are printing out money in numbers that is impossible to comprehend. Like, we're what, $28 trillion in debt now? I think
that's what it is. Hold on.
28, 29. Like, that is a number that isn't like, you cannot comprehend that number unless you are an actual
28 trillion.
28 trillion. And I don't remember the statistics on this, that we've talked about it before. But like 1 million seconds is something along the lines of 30 days. And 1 billion seconds is something like 8.5 months. And 1 trillion seconds is like 32 years.
Yeah.
Or something.
1 million seconds is 11 days.
11 days.
1 billion seconds is 1 billion seconds is 11,005. Hold on. Gonna make me do math. Is 31 years, and 1 trillion seconds is 31,709 years.
Yeah. So these are numbers that are, and that's in seconds. Like,
yeah, that's in seconds.
Those are throwaway moments for us, but we're talking 31,709, 710, depending on which website you look at, years. Somebody from the government's doing one of them. But these are numbers that you can't even comprehend. And we are $29 trillion in debt. If we were paying back $1 a second, nobody will see us pay that money back. Nobody anywhere, because the world probably will not be here. And I can't do that math in my head. 30 times 31,709. They will do the same thing with crypto. There just won't be there won't be anybody watching it at all at that point.
Yep. It'll be like Dogecoin. Speaking of Dogecoin, Jonathan Reynolds is running for Congress. Back in 1996 presidential election, Jonathan asked his granny who else was going to vote for who she was going to vote for, the Republican or the Democrat. She looked him dead in the face and said a cuss to him. This was very confusing for an 8-year-old, but there were only two choices. You're just not going to vote? And she said, nope, I'm going to vote. I just won't be voting for either of them. And so now he's selling the shirt of what his dear beloved granny said. All proceeds support his campaign if you go to voteforjonathan.com.
Where is Jonathan located?
Alabama.
Oh, okay. Because there was a billboard in Maryland, I believe, that said, stop voting for that phrase.
It was probably his billboard.
In Maryland?
Yes. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, doesn't seem like a good place to advertise your campaign.
Hey, Baltimore, come vote for me in Alabama.
In Alabama.
So, folks, yesterday was a pretty big deal for two reasons. Well, many reasons, but the two that I can come up with. One, I got interviewed remotely from a studio for the first time. And then also, yes. So it was a big deal because I know. So it was a big, yes, no, I know. So it was a big deal because I did that in the studio for the first time, but also it was an important anniversary. It was a 1-year anniversary of something big. And in fact, we created a video to commemorate that, which I am going to play now.
We're going to spread the message of liberty far and wide, and I appreciate this, and I will have plenty of other speeches. This is a rare moment of me not having much to say, so I will yield the rest of my time to my running mate.
1 year ago today, the Libertarian Party nominated me to run for vice president. It was one of the greatest honors of my life to travel across America to meet everyday people where they were, in person and online, and listen to them. I spoke with people whose lives had been upended by a government who mistreated them, told them they weren't essential, made their lives too expensive to afford for themselves, and sometimes even abused them and put them in cages. I spoke with people who overcame incredible odds, reached for the stars against everything that was thrown at them, and thrived. I listened to their experiences and shared with them how liberty can make their lives freer, happier, and better than ever before. America needs solutions. And since the election, my team and I have continued to travel the country, helping people, pushing for change, and offering them our solutions. In the last year, we've been to 40 states, at over 100 events, reached countless people, and spread the message of liberty far and wide.
All right, let's do some revolution shit.
And we're just getting started.
So thank
what's
you to
the
everyone.
announcement?
If you want to be one among the first to find out what the announcement is, Matt,
No, I just want to know what the announcement is. I just think you should just say what the announcement is. I don't even know what the announcement is, people. Like,
if you want to know, you actually do know what the announcement is. But if you want to know what the announcement is, go to spikecohen.com/first, and you can be among the first to find out before all those other poor schmoes who didn't go to spikecohen.com/first. Sign up, give us your email, and we will tell you before anyone else. You will get to know before anyone else. Join the Spiky Mouse Club. We're going to call it something else.
SPI. I am Spike Cohen. Key. Why? Because
K-E-Y.
you are the power.
Wow.
Mouse. I, for one, am very excited about this announcement to happen. Andrea O'Donnell wants to know if they get buttons. And you know what? Yes, you can get buttons. All you have to do is go to muddiedwatersmedia.com/store and you can purchase Waffle House buttons that I will mail to you eventually.
Since we're talking about the store, let's look at this shirt you're wearing real quick.
Oh, yeah, the shirt.
Show them this shirt. This
shirt
fantastic Suckle on the Teat of Freedom shirt.
That's right.
This is the best shirt that we have in the store right now.
It is. Actually, it's not even in the store yet. I didn't make it go live because I didn't know if people would want it. I just wanted to get
it. Put it on the store, please. God, please. Just put it
you
in
can.
The store.
For the audio only listeners, I have a shirt with a cow, a prize-winning cow, I believe, that has our logo emblazoned on the side. And underneath it, it says "Suckle on the Teat of Freedom." I made this shirt specifically for the love of my life, superfan Sarah Anderegg, for Mother's Day, because she really enjoys cows and she always says she wants one. So I figured this would be
a happy medium.
A happy medium. She gets a cow on a shirt, and I don't have to have a cow, literally or figuratively. And everybody wins. But she did not like hers as much as I love mine.
It's her loss. That's a great shirt. Please make that go live immediately because I want everyone to go to muddywatersmedia.com/store and buy that shirt so we can all get together in Lakeland, Florida in 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks to enjoy that. So, folks, thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Muddy Waters of Freedom. Tune in tomorrow. My guest is going to be, I think I know who it's going to be. Is going to be Deidre McCloskey. She's a professor emerita of economics and history and English and communication and an adjunct. She's a professor of like 15 different things at University of Illinois in Chicago. We're going to be talking about some of the mess with these vaccines, with the supply chain, and how the government just completely effed it up, and how now more economic protectionism is going to make it even harder to get things. It's going to be about how politicians are idiots, basically. And Matt, who's your guest on Thursday for the Writer's Block?
On Thursday for the Writer's Block, I have Dr. Irene Mavrikakis.
Yes.
Dr. Irene Mavrikakis. She is a physician and interventional spine specialist, and she supports medical freedom. Very interested to having her on. Very interested in having her on. And apparently on June 4th, you're going to be...
Yeah. You can ask her about that.
Hopefully you're going to be running in a 5K.
Yeah, I'm going to be in a 5K marathon, sauntering.
I can't wait for this.
I think these people think I'm a Superman or something. I think often it isn't correctly conveyed to them that I am a middle-aged Jew with MS. But I'll run in a 5K. What do I know?
I believe in you.
Okay, good. Now, I'll tell you, I ran around the airport today, and that was a mile above. By the way, I'm feeling amazing. I was a mile above sea level in Golden, Colorado this past, 5 days that I was gone. And the first day or so, I was feeling kind of like that. And they said, yeah, that's because of the altitude. And I felt normal by like end of the second day. And came back here, and I'm just like, I'm ready to go. I mean, I'm exhausted, but like, I'm not having a hard time catching my breath.
I am currently putting this on the store like right now.
Good. Everyone go to the store in just a few minutes, and he'll have it up there. So head on over to the store. And then this weekend is actually a rare weekend that I don't have to go anywhere for the first time in like 2 months.
I'll ask you after the show. We don't need to do this now.
Okay.
They don't need to see us do this.
And then come right back. But the following weekend, I'm going to be in Delaware with Dr. Mavrikakis and Dr. Irene and a bunch of other, and Maj Touré, Michael Heiss, Steve Sheets. There's a bunch of people that are going to be talking there. Libertarian Party of Delaware's event, Liberty Speaks, in beautiful Dover, Delaware. We're going to be there.
Oddly, that is where Dr. Irene Mavrikakis is from.
Oddly enough. And she'll be
Oddly
there. Coincidentally enough, believe it or not. That'll be
Shockingly.
next weekend. Not this coming weekend, but next weekend. So have a great Memorial Day weekend, and then come right back here for the Muddy Waters of Freedom for Tuesday, where Matt Wright and I parse through the week's events like the sweet little spiky mouses that we are. Matt, if someone were to go...
I don't know.
Look for us on the internet, how would that happen?
You know, all one would have to do is head on over. I need to be able to see my laptop. All one would have to do is head on over to anchor.fm/muddiedwaters.
I'm going to bed now.
Where you would be able to
I have to go to bed.
do things like leave us messages.
Yeah.
And other things like give us money so we can continue to give you the high quality, fantastic, wonderful content that you have grown.
I legitimately almost fell asleep right then.
Also, I would like everybody to notice that Spike is missing hair here, and I am not.
Listen, I'm balding. There's nothing I can do. I told you if you see me with nice good hair again, that means I'm running for president because I got hair plugs. It is what it is. I can't control that.
Doing the Joe Biden thing, I understand it.
Absolutely, 100%. I will 100% do the Joe Biden thing with the hair plugs. I will have perfect hair. Perfect.
Absolutely. I get it. I absolutely get it.
I will not make you vote for a Spike Cohen that has bad hair again, ever. I will. That's my solemn promise to you. Or you can go to... You can find this and every other episode at muddiedwatersmedia.com.
Well, that sounds like a dream inside of a fantasy.
And this is now available on the store in one of the style. We have both male and female.
muddiedwatersmedia.com/store. Get your cow shirt, please. And, see you tomorrow. I will have...
And Thursday.
Oh, what? Yeah, no, I'll see you tomorrow on my show, and then Thursday is your show.
Right. You said see you tomorrow, and I said and on Thursday.
And on Thursday.
And on Thursday.
And next week. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in. To the Muddy Waters of Freedom. To the Muddy Waters of Freedom. And where we're going...
We don't need roads.